Army. Be a part of the toughest, smartest Army in the world. Be all you can be.
Welcome back to Miami. Both clubs making their way onto the court. Miami Heat hoping to crack through in playoff competition against the Chicago Bulls. Bulls 8-0 all time against the Heat in the playoffs. Now look at the starting lineup. First for the Bulls. In the backcourt, a combination of Ron Harper, Michael Jordan. Jordan trying to turn it from the 4 of 15 the other night. He missed 9 of his first 10 shots, which is unheard of. And up front, Luke Longley with Scottie Pippen and Dennis Rodman, who certainly picked up the pace off the boards at 19 rebounds in game 1. There's Phil Jackson, who said the Bulls looked a bit tired to him on Thursday night. And even Michael Jordan not cutting the way he does to get to the basketball. For the hometown Miami Heat, Tim Hardaway, only 2 of 13 from three-point range over the first 2 games in this series. Alonzo Mourning, Jamal Mashburn, and a very quiet P.J. Brown. The other day, no points, no rebounds, 4 fouls. And there's Pat Riley, who has begun to complain about the officiating.
I am shocked that Pat Riley would resort to one of those tactics. He's only been doing that for the 15 years that he's coached, as has Phil Jackson.
And the officials today are Dick Pavetta, Jack Neese, and Ron Garrison. Miami controlling the opening tip in this third game underway. The chant of "Let's Go Heat." Alonzo Mourning took a couple of extra steps.
Well, first of all, the Heat have come out with a lot of bounce in their step, quick with their execution, and that is Alonzo Mourning's favorite move, taking the ball across the lane. Got a little bump from Luke Longley to knock him off balance and force that turnover, and Alonzo is turnover prone.
Jamal Mashburn defending on Scottie Pippen. Rashawn Leonard opening on Michael Jordan. They try to go to Michael, and a holding foul. It is on Leonard.
Well, right off the bat, the Chicago Bulls trying to take advantage of the aggressive overcommitment on defense. Luke Longley with not a real sharp pass there, but a good aggressive foul that time by Rashawn Leonard. I would look for the Bulls to go inside to Luke Longley early, see if he can't pick up a couple fouls on Mourning.
Ron Harper's hit a couple of key three-point shots, able to brush off Hardaway on the pick, and then lost it.
And they were, in fact, looking for Luke Longley on the weak side, but Alonzo Mourning smelled it out very nicely and got around and fronted Luke Longley to prevent any kind of entry pass.
Leonard played by Jordan. Brown given the room by Rodman. And here's Hardaway, rejected and fouled. Foul on the Bulls. Well, the Miami Heat so successful during the regular season at home, and in the playoffs, 6 up and 1 down at home, and on the road 1-6. Although they have been an excellent road team, they have the best road record over the course of the regular season. You can see that point differential home and away. Ron Harper called for the foul to put Tim Hardaway at the line.
And the ironic thing there is the last couple of years the Miami Heat have complained about this home crowd, first of all for not showing up in sellout type numbers, but also turning on the team very quickly when things don't go well.
Miami 32-9 here. Should say on the road 32-9, but they have gone the opposite way in the playoffs. Here's Jordan. Harper going to the board. Rodman able to pick it up. Longley played by Brown. Well, the Bulls are off to a slow start. Minute and a half gone by. These two clubs come off the 75-68 game on Thursday, the lowest scoring playoff game since the inception of the 24-second clock back in 1955. And the Bulls 0 for their first 3.
Both teams have been very reluctant to give the other a lot of credit for the defense. They're both saying that they're just missing shots, but this defense is overly aggressive.
And that was more than a miss. An ugly start here in Miami. Rodman trying to keep it alive. Bulls have missed their first 5 shots. P.J. Brown. Miami Chicago nothing.
And that'll get this crowd going, and that's what the Heat have to do. Get out and run. Get easy baskets. Get some confidence, and then those jumpers will be a lot easier.
So P.J. Brown, who did not score at all in game 2, and Scottie Pippen able to put it down for the Bulls' first field goal. It took 2.5 minutes.
And that shot was challenged. Even though Pippen got around Mashburn easy enough, Alonzo Mourning challenged him.
Brown on the back tap, but handled by Longley. Game 3 of the Eastern Conference Finals. Chicago up 2-0 in the best of 7. Game 4 here in Miami on Monday afternoon on NBC. Hopper tried from 3-point range. Hardaway with Leonard running the floor, but he goes the other way for Mashburn. A 3 for Jamal Mashburn.
You see what I mean, Barb? Even though it wasn't Mashburn who got that earlier layup, it was P.J. Brown, but it just lifts everybody else when they see the ball going in the basket. It hasn't happened very much for either of these two teams so far in the first 2 games.
And Chicago has hit only one of its first 7 shots. Shot clock at 3, 2, 1. Pippen. Rodman able to collect that offensive ball.
But what is happening to Chicago? They're not able to execute their offense, and Michael Jordan or Scottie Pippen winding up with the ball with about 3 seconds on the shot clock, forced to take some bad shots.
Now Jordan with the move by Hardaway. The spin by Jordan. He beat Hardaway, and then Mourning for his first field goal. Heat 7 and the Bulls 4. Mourning. Leonard for 3. And back come the Bulls. Open shot. Miami with a 1-point advantage.
Even though the Bulls come away with a field goal there, they had a pretty good running opportunity, but you just saw the Chicago team just loping into the front court instead of really putting on a sprint and attacking the lanes to create a good scoring opportunity. They're just not running hard enough, and throughout this series, the Miami Heat have not run hard enough.
Traveling violation, and it gives the ball back to Chicago. Five minutes gone by in this first quarter. The Heat 7 and the Bulls 6. Here's Pippen with a driving hook, and he felt he was fouled. Scottie Pippen going glass, and he's given the Bulls a 1-point lead. Timeout taken by Miami. So after the slow start by Chicago, one of their first 8, they're showing some signs. Well, the Miami Heat certainly falling off over the first 2 games of this series. Take a look at what these guys did during the regular season, and then the drop-off the first 2 games. And today, down 2-0, they are in a must-win mode. What is the mental approach of the Miami Heat? What do they have to do to get back into it? We asked that of Tim Hardaway.
We at home. Let's get out and run. Let's get out and play good defense. Don't give them nothing on defense. Don't back down. The referees call foul, so be it. But don't back down. Make them work for everything. Rebound on defensive end. Get out and run. Get open shots. Get easy shots. And when we in a set, let's execute on the offensive end and make sure we get a shot every time down. Don't turn the ball over. That's what we're thinking today.
Well, Pat Riley has sold his team on the positive approach, and rightly so, saying, all right, Chicago did what they were supposed to do, win the 2 games there. Now all we have to do is win our 2 games on this floor, preferably game 3, rather than take the daunting approach, hey, we got to beat the Chicago Bulls 4 out of 5 times. You certainly don't want to look at it that way.
Ron Harper just picked up a second foul, replaced by Randy Brown. Leonard able to keep it alive, and Miami gets the new 24. The Bulls 8 and the Heat 7. Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen accounting for all 8 Chicago points. Mashburn when he moves on Pippen, who stays with him. Mashburn to the fadeaway. Hardaway back, picking up Jordan. Longley. And Brown for the rebound.
Well, you can tell that in that huddle, Phil Jackson telling his team, hey, Mourning is leaving Luke Longley to try to help out. So keep an eye out for Luke. We'll get some open shots.
Good play by Brown, but saved by the Heat. Mourning passed on the shot and again is called for the traveling violation.
Well, the Chicago Bulls, and in particular Luke Longley, making a conscious effort of forcing Alonzo Mourning to his left. He is not very comfortable with that ball in the left hand, and there you see a little bit of confusion, the shuffling of the feet.
3 turnovers for Miami, all 3. Credited to Mourning. Brown trying to save it. Take a 20, but he had stepped out of bounds, according to Dick Bavetta, so the ball back to the Heat.
Now, Randy Brown is a very tough, aggressive defensive player, and he will battle you, but he does have a problem keeping you from penetrating to the basket. And, of course, Tim Hardaway, one of the best penetrators in the business.
Get the idea that the officials are not as quick to give players that 20-second timeout on these situations.
Yeah, they're looking at their feet more to see if they step on the line. I think a lot of people in the NBA don't like that call, and I don't think a lot of the officials like it either. So you're right. They will look for any excuse not to give it to them.
We could see a change in the use of that rule. Off the steal. Handled by Brown, who got it to Hardaway. The Heat have not scored the last 3.5 minutes. The Bulls 8, the Heat 7. 5 minutes to go. First quarter, a foul committed by Longley. Well, coming off what we saw in Game 2 Thursday night in Chicago, there was hope that things would pick up at the offensive end. No signs to this point here in the first quarter.
And I think in this case, so far, you have to give it to the defense. Ball is being pressured. Everybody's bending their knees, battling, getting away with enough physical contact as they can. And the problems continue for Alonzo Mourning at the free throw line. 7 for 15 in game 1, 4 for 6 in game 2. And when he came into the NBA as a rookie, look at that, 78%. And then all of a sudden in 1996, it left him. Nobody really knows the reason. But talking with Pat Riley yesterday, he said this will be a major project come this summer to try to find out what is wrong with Alonzo Mourning's foul shot and get it improved.
Miami overall in game 2 picked up the free throw shooting as a team, 15 of 18 at the line. Game tied at 8 with 4:40 left in the first. Randy Brown trying to become more offensive this season, missing on those 2 opportunities. Rashawn Leonard able to find Jamal Mashburn for 3. And Dennis Rodman with his 3rd rebound.
And the grimace on the face of Pat Riley. But this Miami team lives and thrives on that three-pointer. They can make more than any other team in the league, but you'd like a better shot than a 3 in transition, especially with the way that the Heat have been shooting the ball.
Foul committed by Leonard. That is his 2nd.
You see that look of disgust on Pat Riley. Of course, we would have seen a totally different look had Jamal Mashburn made that 3-point shot.
Now Jordan over Leonard, and the box out by Brown. So Michael Jordan 2 for 5 from the field. Foul. Jordan came over to help, and there's an interesting switch. Dennis Rodman trying to cool down a teammate, keeping Luke Longley away after Longley was called for his 2nd personal.
Well, for the last year or 2, that has been Luke Longley's job to try to control Dennis Rodman. And Luke Longley is upset because in transition, what Alonzo Mourning done is run right down the middle of the floor, get right in front of the rim, and he wants to take that position, cover up his defender, and he put a little extra into it to bump off Luke Longley, and that's why Luke was upset. And Luke Longley starting to bark at the official, which has become a common occurrence during these playoffs. And Dennis Rodman, the model of control and poise. Settle down, big fella.
I tell you, Matt, that Dennis really has a way of settling people down. The Bulls, incidentally, have not scored in almost 3 minutes. Alonzo continues his difficulties at the foul line. Miami now with a 9-8 lead. We're just under 4 minutes remaining in this first quarter. Pippen off the head. Called for carrying the ball. The outside official also Jack Neese with that call.
Well, if you remember back in the beginning of the season, the officials were trying to call that a lot. They were calling it on Allen Iverson early. Every once in a while, Michael Jordan will do a little bit of that. Patrick Ewing does it quite a bit. A lot. Tim Hardaway is doing it right now.
Matt making a lot of friends around the NBA. Keith Askins has come on, replacing Deshaun Leonard, who went out after picking up a second foul. Ashburn dribbling into the crowd, stolen by Brown. He has a 3-on-1. Brown lost it. Yes, and it counts. Foul committed by Askins, and Michael Jordan will go to the line.
A lot of teamwork involved on this play. Dennis Rodman doing an outstanding defensive job of stepping over, taking the bump, of course flopping. Randy Brown in a little bit of trouble here, trying to locate the dribble, but still does the wise thing. At least get the shot up. He didn't. It got blocked. But Michael Jordan taking nothing for granted, following up on the play.
Jordan with 7 points. And the Bulls now lead 11-9. Miami just 2 of 10 from the field. Chicago 5 for 16. Hardaway able to penetrate. Morning had Brown with his second field goal, and he's tied the game at 11.
And Alonzo Mourning gets a lot of credit on that play. First of all, setting the high pick to free up Hardaway, and then knocking bodies loose to enable P.J. Brown to get that second chance opportunity.
Offensive foul is called on Randy Brown, extending his elbow. And the ball goes back to Miami. Well, in game 2 on Thursday, a total of 143 points were scored in that 75-68 encounter. The previous low, 145 points by Fort Wayne and Syracuse back in 1955. That was deflected by Chicago. Fort Wayne won that game 74-71, but these two clubs right on pace here today on the first quarter. Ryan Williams able to deflect it to Dennis Rodman. With 2.5 left in the first, the game tied at 11. Rodman tried to take it into his own hands. He said, we're not seeing any offense. And a loose ball foul has been called. Foul on Brian Williams. Timeout taken. We'll be back in a moment. Welcome back to Miami, Florida. A star-studded crowd here at the arena. Sylvester Stallone getting golf tips from Greg Norman. Gloria Estefan did a great job singing the national anthem prior to the game. Miami Dolphin head coach Jimmy Johnson, who said earlier he does not think this type of basketball is ugly. He said he likes good defense. And Georgetown head coach John Thompson, who is now down to following one of his former players in Alonzo Mourning with Patrick Ewing of the New York Knicks to Kembe Mutombo of the Atlanta Hawks, having been eliminated.
I'm sure John Thompson, the former coach of Alonzo Mourning, very much concerned with what's going on with Alonzo's free throw shooting, which is also very good while at Georgetown University. And what's really surprising about it is when a player goes to the line with volume of shots, especially a guy who has had success like Alonzo Mourning, you expect him to finally get into a groove somewhere along the line. Well, that doesn't necessarily work with a guy like Shaquille O'Neal, who goes to the line a lot, but never seems to get in that comfortable rhythm.
Matt, would you say that Alonzo, though, would have a better shot of picking it up because he has been a decent free throw shooter in the past, as opposed to Shaquille, who's still trying to find himself at the line?
Alonzo Mourning is a good perimeter shooter, has good mechanics, good release. It's just somewhere where he has just lost his confidence.
Oh, what a shot by Jordan, going to his new favorite maneuver, the fadeaway, and that was also deflected. The game is tied at 13. A minute and 45 remaining in the first. And away from the ball, Mourning and Brown got involved. Foul on Mourning, that's his first.
And Keith Askins, a good defender and a tall one, pushing Michael out a little bit further than he likes on that fadeaway shot. And at the other end, we saw one of those careless Alonzo Mourning fouls. And he was upset with Tim Hardaway for not waiting on the screen. And he was probably right. Probably Hardaway's fault.
Jordan off the fake, and again drills the fadeaway, and is beginning to feel the touch. 5 of 8. 11 points for Jordan. The Bulls by 2.
And Scottie Pippen has the other 4, but the Chicago Bulls are going to have to find somebody else to chip in offensively.
Hardaway try to pull that one out of the arsenal from last Sunday in Game 7 against the Knicks. Down to 1 minute left in the first. Jordan. Brown gives it to Pippen. Pippen around Mashburn. Scottie Pippen with a gorgeous move going right around Jamal Mashburn.
Scottie Pippen, not known for being much of a post player, showed a good one right there, but against a very poor defender in Jamal Mashburn, who was standing straight up.
6 unanswered points. Alonzo Mourning. Nice speed. Mourning able to beat Williams. 2-point Chicago lead. Pippen. And he is fouled. It looked like Mashburn has some words. Beautiful change of pace dribble to set it up.
Well, first of all, when you're guarding Michael Jordan, you cannot give him baseline. He is just too quick, too hard to help. So you force him to the middle, but he makes that hard dribble, quick stop up in the air. And there's the post move by Scottie Pippen. And it's surprising why Pippen doesn't do more of that. Now, generally, he's being guarded by other small forwards who range anywhere from 6'6" to 6'9". But Scottie Pippen has a quickness advantage on most of them.
Michael Jordan sitting down with 11. NBA.com, the official website of the NBA, stepping up its game for the playoffs and now offering same-night video highlights in addition to post-game recaps and box scores, up-to-the-minute stats for every player and team. NBA.com, your ultimate online resource for the NBA playoffs. Down to a half minute remaining in this first quarter. The Bulls 19, the Heat 15.
Tim Hardaway 0 for 3 from the field so far, settling for jump shots. He has to start going to the basket.
Dan Marley has checked in for the first time, as has Tony Kukoc and Isaac Austin. And a 3-second violation is called. Down to 17 seconds to go. In this opening quarter, Chicago gets it back. Phil Jackson with some substitutions. Steve Kerr and Judd Bushler, a couple of Arizona graduates checking in together.
And 2 defensive players, Dennis Rodman and Randy Brown, going out, coming in with a very sharp offensive player, at least from beyond the three-point line, in Steve Kerr. And Judd Bushler's been playing well for Chicago. He has been one of the players that's come off the bench and has been executing in the offense well. It's not turning up a lot of points, but it looks good.
And here's Bushler firing for 3. Austin on the box out. Time has run out in this first quarter. So Miami only 4 of 15 from the field. 1 of 7 from three-point range. Just 15 points in this first quarter. After 1 in Game 3, Chicago 19 and Miami 15. We'll be back with the second quarter in a moment. You're watching the NBA on NBC.
Well, three-point shooting, such an important facet to the Miami Heat's game. Look at this against the New York Knicks. Dan Marley, Tim Hardaway, Jamal Mashburn, all very effective, mainly because of drawing kicks. But in this series so far, 3 for 26 in Game 2, 10 for 26, which is not bad in Game 1, but just an awful three-point shooting. And look at it, it continues here in the first quarter, but all season long, the Chicago Bulls defended the three-point shot better than any other team in the league, mainly because they do so little double teaming.
Second quarter underway. Marv Albert, Matt Dukas, and Ahmad Rashad from Miami. A 19-15 Chicago lead. Here's Steve Kerr on his first shot opportunity. Confusion as Haskins and Brown ran into each other, and that led to the first field goal for Williams. The Bulls 21 and the Heat 15.
Now, when you're playing against Chicago, of course, you're going to make your share of mistakes as you would in any ballgame, but you just can't afford to give up easy baskets like that because players just reach for a ball with one hand, and Brian Williams was a look what I found. Judd Bushler. Of course, P.J. Brown has not been very evident in this series. Maybe he didn't see him, but he stuck his body out there. It looked like Judd Bushler tried to run right through, although P.J. Brown is starting to come alive a little bit in this game.
He has been ineffective since returning from that 2-game suspension in the melee involving the Heat and the Knicks. Here's Austin for 3. And Dan Marley able to keep it alive. A very happy time for Dan Marley. Brown to the fadeaway. And Bush were able to come up with it. Dan and his wife Tina became parents 12:20 a.m. early this morning. Tina and 7-pound 2-ounce Mackenzie doing fine. Dan Marley and Tina having their second child. They have a 2-year-old. Madison Shea. Here's Pippen. And back comes Hardaway. Minute and a half in. Second quarter. Hardaway stopped by Kerr. Haskins. And the steal by Williams. Pippen delivers to Bushler. The Bulls lead 23-15.
The Miami Heat are just so stagnant on offense, just walking into plays, not protecting the ball. This man, Tim Hardaway, he has Steve Kerr on him right now. He's got to start to try to break him down, get to the basket. Like that.
Excellent closing there. And for Miami, their first field goal in some time. 23-17 Chicago. Pippen for 3. And a loose ball foul on Brian Williams.
Well, Tim has been so lethargic in the last 5 or 6 minutes, and still, this is really not an explosive move for Tim Hardaway, but he gets the job done.
Power of a computer in the palm of your hand.
Well, we often talk about the importance of contesting shot. And Miami Heat are one of the best teams in that area. There's Steve Kerr stepping inside the three-point line with a hand in his face. Now, no way to contest that one by Brian Williams, but Scottie Pippen way outside had the hand in his face. And Pat Riley keeps a statistic on that and feels that if you can contest at least 50% of your shots, you're doing a good job. And we see there so far today, Chicago 4 out of 16 with a hand in the face, 6 from 11. A big difference when nobody has that hand up.
Miami had not scored in 3.5 minutes prior to that driving shot a moment ago by Tim Hardaway. Bulls lead by 6. We are early in the second. Hardaway going at Kerr. So the post-up move by Tim Hardaway, and it brings Miami within 4.
The Heat wisely coming out of that time in. They had Hardaway beating Kerr off the dribble. Hardaway, a good post player against players his size or a little bigger, and especially against Kerr.
Michael Jordan making his return by hitting the 3. Bulls 26 and the Heat 19. And for Michael Jordan, a rare three-pointer on the road. He has 14 points in all. Marley played by Rodman. And Hardaway rebounded by Kukoc. Chicago now with Brian Williams, Dennis Rodman, Tony Kukoc up front, Michael Jordan, Steve Kerr in the backcourt. Kukoc, who has struggled, able to go glass. Tony Kukoc still bothered by the sore right foot. Only 1 of 11 the first 2 games of this series, but a nice move right there. Here's Marley, unable to hit the 3. Kukoc running the floor. Jordan able to recover. Michael Jordan again. He is 16, and the Bulls have opened up their biggest lead of the game.
And the tongue is wagging, and that was not a particularly crisp pass by Tony Kukoc, but it got the job done. But Michael Jordan popping right off the bench, and he is feeling it offensively. Nice little back pick, and the defense goes with Tony Kukoc. Michael stepping beyond the arc, and then on the slow break, the lazy pass by Kukoc, Michael finally grabs and knocks down the shot.
7-0 run for the Bulls. They lead by 11. Well, Michael Jordan on fire. He has hit his last 16 points in all to lead the way.
And Michael doing it every which way. The hard baseline drive and the dunk. That time left all alone for his three-pointer of this series. And then on the fast break feed from Tony Kukoc, Michael 7 for 10 from the field and looks extremely quick this afternoon in all of his moves.
Coming off the 5 of 14, it's very rare that he will have 2 poor performances in a row. You go back to the 93 Eastern Conference Finals. Jordan had a 3 for 18 against the Knicks. This is Iceburn firing up a 3. And Brian Williams able to hustle it down. And following that 3 for 18, Matt, game 4, he went out and scored 54 against New York.
Well, now these poor performances are relative. You know, he had 14 points in the fourth quarter the other night, 10 for 10 from the line as Pippen puts one off the glass, and now a double foul.
The basket will count. Scottie Pippen with 10. And then the double fouls called. It's Rodman and Mourning involved.
Well, Alonzo Mourning trying to block out and just getting pushed and pushed further underneath the basket. And a smart call by the officials there at both players getting those elbows way too high.
Alonzo Mourning, incidentally, still bothered by bruised ribs sustained in game 1 when he landed on Dennis Rodman's shoulder following a driving layup. And a foul is called against the Bulls. Well, a reminder, tomorrow the NBA playoffs continue as NBC will present the Western Conference Finals. Our coverage begins with Showtime at 3 o'clock Eastern Time, and then Charles Barkley of the Houston Rockets will try to even up the series, going up against Karl Malone and the Utah Jazz. Rockets knocking off the Jazz last night. Foul on Rodman a moment ago, his second, and now the call on Miami. And that is number 3. Mourning backing in, and once again an early foul trouble.
And on the play before was Dennis Rodman picking up one. So Dennis Rodman has really gotten into the head and into the game of Alonzo Mourning, who really doesn't need any help in this department, picking up the careless fouls. We saw the double foul on a play about a minute ago here, trying to get position. And of course, Rodman is a smart defender in knowing how to take that hit and flop back and draw attention.
Chicago has outscored Miami 13-4 in the second quarter. Hardaway with all 4 Heat points. We have played 5 minutes of the quarter. The steal by Mourning. Chased by Pippen. Cuts back for the block. What a foul. Terrific hustle by Scottie Pippen. He was able to keep Marley away from the easy bucket. You'd rather see him go to the line.
Well, Miami going without a legitimate point guard right now, and you can see that Dan Marley knew that Pippen was bearing down on him, trying to find out which side he was coming. Dan made the wrong choice there, with Pippen coming over his right shoulder. No doubt should have gone to the other side of the rim with the left hand, which Dan Marley is capable of using.
Dan Marley has been struggling at the line, got the roll right there. That ends the 9-0 run by Chicago. And here's Jason Caffey, who did a nice job in the early going of the series against Atlanta, with Dennis Rodman trying to get back into it. And Dennis hears it from the crowd as he heads to the bench. 5 rebounds, 2 fouls for Rodman.
And Rodman with a little show of disgust and frustration at being taken out of the game. For the most part, he has kept himself under control and did his job in the sense that he got Alonzo Mourning in foul trouble.
Bulls 32, the Heat 21. Jordan. Oh, yes. Michael showing the entire repertoire in this first half. He has 18 points in all. He scored the Bulls' last 6 points. 13-point Chicago advantage. Marley running Kukoc into a pick. Brown not looking for that shot. Austin won't count. Traveling by Laker. Turnover number 9 for Miami. Jordan gives it back to Kukoc. And here's Rodney again looking for glass. And knocked out of bounds by Williams. Austin felt he was fouled, and has a pretty good case. Felt Williams came right over his back.
Not a good-looking shot by Tony Kukoc, and in talking with Phil Jackson and Michael Jordan before the game, you could hear the concern in their voice that Tony Kukoc is well below his norm as far as his game is concerned. Sore foot, but more importantly, lacking confidence.
Isaac Austin with his first field goal. Michael Jordan telling us how important he felt it was for Tony Kukoc to hit on his first shot, which he did, but did not follow up just a moment ago. Bulls 34, the Heat 23. Jordan over Leonard, and he gets the friendly roll. So Michael Jordan with 20 points. He's 9 of 12 overall. He's hit his last 7 shots.
I think even Michael was surprised that one went in. It was not a good-looking shot, but he still got the roll.
And Leonard hacked. 2 shots coming up. Foul on Jordan.
Well, the floor spread. Michael, in effect, the point guard right now. A little left to right crossover, getting the lane, hanging in the air. And then another, this time a right to left crossover, and he kind of just jabbed at that shot. And usually when you do that, you will hit front rim. But you saw that look on his face like saying, wow, if that thing's going to go in, I could be having a monster today.
Rashawn Leonard, who has been very quiet, looking for his first points of the game. Leonard, originally a second-round draft pick of Milwaukee back in '94, elected to return to college, Minnesota. You can see how he has fallen series by series after averaging 14.5 per game in that opening round series against Orlando. He did return to Minnesota for a senior season, finished as the Gophers' all-time leading scorer. Then a major surprise last year as a rookie. And a foul call. It's on Hardaway. That is his first.
Well, a big reason for Rashawn Leonard's problems in this series, other than making his first 4 3-pointers in the first quarter of game 1, he's got a very difficult job right now trying to play a very aggressive Michael Jordan. So that is taking up all of his energy. And right now the Chicago Bulls have done something a little different. Their triangle offense has not been effective. And what they've done is spread the floor a little bit more. Spread out the defense. Get a little more driving, a little more cutting, which has always been an effective play for Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen.
Chicago Bulls seeking their 5th championship. The last 7 years went 69-13 during the regular season. A follow-up on the record 72-win season. In the first round of the playoffs, swept Washington 3-0, although it was not easy. The Bulls not at the top of their game. Second round beat Atlanta in 5. Again, not overly impressive in the early going of that series. That is not what Isaac Austin had in mind. And here comes Pippen, setting it up for Kerr for 3. And Dick Pavetta with the indication that it went over the top of the backboard.
Well, Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen having a little couple of words, little gamesmanship. Looking at Tim Hardaway to say, hey, am I hot or what?
And Jordan off the steal, tripped up by Hardaway. Oh, he wanted to put a move on P.J. Brown, who was backpedaling.
Even though Michael Jordan has had problems somewhat with his shooting throughout this series until today, he has been doing the other things. Rebounding, playing defense, jumping in the passing lane there, and almost a very dangerous trip that time by Tim Hardaway.
Only the second team foul called on the Heat. The Bulls have 5. John Leonard trying to hold off Michael Jordan. Well, he had hit 7 straight prior to that miss. Leonard is it right back. Hardaway's been quiet. Alonzo Mourning sitting down after picking up a 3rd. Nice move by Mashburn. Jamal Mashburn, the one-time Dallas Maverick, with his 2nd field goal. Mashburn spent 3.5 years with Dallas, although played only 18 games last season due to a serious knee injury. He's come back from that. Kukoc looping it inside, intended for Pippen. Here's the open shot from Mashburn, but he passed on it, allowed Kukoc to recover.
And a very active Tony Kukoc, not known for his defense, knows he's got a tough customer right now, one-on-one, Jamal Mashburn.
Jordan over to help. Austin had it knocked away by Kerr. Good help by Steve Kerr. Jordan. And Austin lost it. And it's
Well, actually, Ike Austin diving for that loose ball, put a little bit too much into it and punched the ball forward, which is a violation and called quickly by referee Ron Garrettson. Isaac Austin losing his feet. It was going to go to Tim Hardaway, but trying to knock it ahead, hit it with the closed fist.
Dick Bavetta just came over to give us the official punching indication.
Matt Kukas and Ahmad Rashad.
All right, thank you, Hannah. The pattern has been the same, though, for the Chicago Bulls. Hannah mentioned Jordan with 20. Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen have combined for 30 of the 38 points. These guys still not doing it. The Chicago bench that has played so well in recent years, not delivering during the course of the playoffs.
I asked Michael Jordan before the game what the problem was. Were the bench players standing around and watching too much as Michael and Scottie taking most of the shots? Of course, he totally disagreed with that. He said, really, the problem is Tony Kukoc just can't get involved, either with his shot or with his playmaking. He is so important to the continuity of that second unit.
Coming up on 3 minutes remaining in this first half. And the Bulls lead by 11. Kukoc with the room for 3. And kept alive. Steve Kerr on the floor with Michael Jordan, Tony Kukoc, Jason Caffey, and Scottie Pippen. Now Pippen posting up. Yes. Bulls lead 40-27.
And you can tell just looking at Tony Kukoc, he is nowhere near himself. Just putting it very unaggressive, not looking to put the ball on the floor and drive and create. Just standing flat-footed.
Leonard for 3. Rashawn Leonard with Miami's second three-pointer, but they're 2 of 17 from three-point range. The Bulls, I should say 2 of 12 from three-point range. The Bulls 1 of 9. Pippen, Scottie Pippen with 14. Chicago adds to that lead, up by 12. Bulls have led by as many as 13. And a foul called on Caffey. Let's check in with the dean, Ahmad Rashad. Ahmad.
All right, Mark, on that last timeout, Phil Jackson telling his team too much individual work. He wants them to stay with that offense, stay inside that triangle offense, and get the points coming from there. Mark?
All right, Ahmad. Isaac Austin to the free throw line for the first time.
It's got to be a little bit difficult for Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen to start looking for their teammates when they're either not open, not aggressive, or being covered by the good defense of Miami. And, of course, with the talent that Jordan and Pippen have, they can go get their own shot, and that's what they've been doing, although it does hurt the overall effectiveness of Chicago.
Just under 2 minutes remaining in this first half. Chicago with the ball. They lead by 10. Pippen. Scottie Pippen is on fire. He has shot the ball well. He's 7 of 12. He has 16 points. And here's Brown, foul. Caffey called for his second. Reminder, tomorrow at 2 o'clock Eastern Time, join NBC Sports World for a special look at the world's largest basketball tournament, Hoop It Up. Players of all ages can chase their hoop dreams on streets across the nation. Hoop It Up, hosted by Bill Walton and Steve Jones. That's tomorrow, 2 o'clock Eastern, right here on NBC.
Well, so far, P.J. Brown, 4 points, 5 rebounds, but has been missing in action ever since the body slam on Charlie Ward. There against Orlando, averaging 12 points a game, shooting it well, having a good series against New York until the 2-game suspension, and just unable to get anything going. And he is the most confused guy in the world, say, hey, it's my job to be like Dennis Rodman is for Chicago, to get out, create havoc, get second shot opportunities, be a defensive force, pick up some garbage points. He's not really doing any of that.
And PJ missed on both free throws. Dependable foul shooter during the regular season at 74%. Bulls by 12. Coming up on 1:15 left in this first quarter. Jordan did not like the hand check by Hardaway, and Phil Jackson up, demonstrating to Jack Neese. Kukoc fouled by Brown. Michael Jordan felt that he was severely hand checked by Tim Hardaway.
And this is what Pat Riley has been complaining about to the media, has put together a tape to send to the NBA office. Doesn't really expect a lot of action from that, but as Pat said yesterday, this is coaching by the blue book in the playoffs. When things aren't going well, or even if they are going well, you have to find little things to complain about, and that's what he's doing right now. And he's saying, I don't know what's a foul anymore. You're supposed to be able to put a bent arm up into the waist and hip area of a player, and that is what's happening to Michael Jordan. The opinion of many of the officials, it's too much of a bent arm putting pressure on.
And Rob Thornton said he was looking forward to taking a look at the tape from Pat Riley. Pat has been saying we don't just have to beat the Bulls, we've got to beat their privileges, the privileges they've earned as world champions. Kukoc off the steal. And here's Jordan giving it up. Foul. Dennis Rodman sent flying, and apparently Dan Marley chased him down, wanted to go after him. And let's see how that incident got started.
And Dan Marley and Phil Jackson having some words there. You could tell by the toot of the whistle that something was going to be called on the Marley foul. That's almost an indication that a flagrant foul might be called on the Marley foul, but evidently Dennis Rodman did something in retaliation towards Dan Marley for him to react like that.
Double technicals called on Marley and Rodman. Yes, we'll have to get another look at that one as they went into a crowd of players behind the basket. Ron Garrettson discussing it with the new dad, Dan Marley. First, the free throws will be taken by Dennis Rodman. So the Bulls now lead 46-32.
Well, here's that fast break opportunity for Dennis Rodman off the Jordan feed. And it's just Dan Marley going for, oh, there it is. The extra left arm, forearm shiver right into the chest. And look at Phil Jackson. He can't believe it. But this is another thing that Pat Riley has been complaining about. The extra push, the extra elbow after the play. And really, it was Dan Marley, not necessarily with a flagrant foul at all, unable to block that shot, caught the arm of Rodman, and then Rodman with the extra shot.
22nd timeout has been called by Chicago. All right, for more on that incident, let's check in with Ahmad Rashad.
Yeah, Mark, well, I was sitting right here as Dan Marley walked by. Phil Jackson just telling him to cool down, and Marley saying that he doesn't play that chippy kind of way, and he's not going to take that kind of stuff from Dennis Rodman. He also went over and said the same thing to Michael Jordan, so obviously he felt like Dennis was being chippy, and his reaction was, hey, I'm not going to take that if you're going to try to play that way. Mark?
All right, thanks, Ahmad. Yes, Dan Marley, not the type of guy that does go around looking for fireworks. Recall he went back at Charles Oakley in a game here in Miami in the series against the Knicks.
Marley, one of those kinds of players who certainly can dish it out in a physical fashion, but also will take his share there. But I think Pat Riley, because he's been talking so much about it to the media, that extra hit after the play has the Heat very upset. Here, Michael Jordan riding Bashan Leonard down the sideline. Very quick sticking that right hand, almost had the clean steal and the break the other way. But Michael Jordan with that little smile saying, hey, maybe Riley's starting to get to you guys, saying you're going to watch me a lot closer.
Foul was called on Jordan, his second. P.J. Brown will check back in. Alonzo Mourning sitting out a good portion of the second quarter after collecting a third foul. Austin sitting down. Michael Jordan, the high man, with 20 points. Scottie Pippen with 16. Mashburn able to keep it alive. We're down to 40 seconds to go in this first half. Again, a poor shooting performance by Miami, and it has been turnover filled. Another one giving it back to the Bulls. Now Mashburn guarding Jordan. Here's Jordan. Rebounded by Marley. Michael thought he had the range on that one. He headed back down court with the feel that he'd hit it.
Well, this is a one-shot situation, but the Miami offense is just absolutely awful. No quickness to it, no life to it, no ability to get out and get some transition baskets.
Miami 9 of 26, just 34% shooting. The Bulls at 44. Marley for three and fouled by Kerr with 0.3 of a second to go in the half. And Steve Kerr upset with himself and puts Marley on the line for 3 shots.
And Steve Kerr knows immediately what a terrible play here. Steve has a habit of putting his hands to his head, but that was a different kind of hands to the head. He knew that was a very poor play on a poor percentage launch by Dan Marley. And with the Heat struggling for points, this is an opportunity to give him a chance at 3.
Marley during the regular season shot 68% at the foul line.
And in this situation, after a free throw, if Dan Marley makes the third one, is when the Chicago Bulls like to throw the home run pass down to Michael Jordan at the top of the key, who with 0.8 of a second has time to catch and put up a shot.
They readjusted the clock from 0.3 to the 0.8 of a second remaining. 47-34 Chicago. Marley trying to get it off the miss. And that will do it for the first half. Not a good one for Miami. They committed 14 turnovers, 8 of the 14 in the second quarter, 20 for Jordan, 16 for Pippen. Stay tuned for the Prudential halftime report. You are watching the NBA. The scoring leaders for the Bulls, Michael Jordan with 20, Scottie Pippen with 16. They have combined for 36 of Chicago's 47 points.
Well, no help there on Scottie Pippen. Mourning getting too late, and Pippen going to his postgame. And with the floor spread, Michael operating from the top of the key, just no way to do anything defensively. All you can do is hope he misses his shots.
And the combination of Jordan and Pippen with 36 points, outscoring Miami 36-34 in the first half. Let's check in with Ahmad Rashad.
All right, Marv, at halftime, Phil Jackson very happy with his team's play, even though...
Come on, got it. I want to take it. All right, no shoes. We're going in.
See, well, this always happens at once every playoff. That was Dick Pavetta, ladies and gentlemen. But very happy with the things they were doing in the first half. They made some adjustments because, you know, the key is half-to-half adjustments. They made some adjustments. It feels like if they keep doing what they're doing, they will be very well here this second half. All right, Marv?
All right, thanks, Ahmad. Dick Pavetta always reserving his points to step in with A material for national telecasts. Actually, Dick, with his first appearance back here in Miami when he was a focal point in Game 5 on May the 14th in the Knicks-Miami series. He was over at the Miami Heat bench as the Knicks charged off the bench, and the Miami Heat did not because they got the word from Dick Pavetta.
Well, I bet the Knicks would have wished that he was a lot closer to their bench.
Well, the officials at the other end, Leonard just picked up his third. I think we're more involved in breaking up what was taking place. Miami's bench down at the other end of the court. Third quarter is underway. And Michael Jordan to the free throw line. He's 1 of 1 at the line.
Well, it really hasn't mattered who has defended Michael Jordan. Vashawn Leonard has been on him most of the time, trying to keep that bent arm to try to force him away. But when Michael Jordan has it going, stopping quickly, raising in the air, he has a height advantage over Tim Hardaway. And every time he has seen Tim, he has tried to take the ball to the basket. But for Miami to get anything going, Tim Hardaway has to get something going here. It's almost as if he's pacing himself, but he really can't afford to do that the way the Heat have been playing.
Foul committed by Luke Longley. That is his third. It's been an uneven performance by Tim Hardaway through the playoffs. Did not shoot well in that opening round against Orlando, and then hit the 2 clutch field goals down the stretch in game number 5. Came on very strong after having ups and downs against the Knicks, but had that sensational 7th game here last Sunday, and hasn't done anything over the first 2 games against Chicago. Pushing foul. On Longley. And that's 4 on Longley.
Well, this goes to show you how every game is different. In game 2, Luke Longley stayed out of foul trouble, was able to keep Alonzo Mourning from getting to the middle, chipped in with 8 points himself. But in today's ball game, every time he makes any kind of contact with Alonzo Mourning, the whistle has gone against him.
Mourning is playing with 3 fouls, now being guarded by Brian Williams, who just replaced Luke Longley. Hardaway played by Harper. Followed by Leonard.
Well, that was a pass, I'm sure Tim Hardaway would like to say. There's no way Tim Hardaway could make that shot. He was shooting, falling back. He's almost playing like a very passive point guard, just coming down, looking to make a pass and staying around. Can't happen for the Heat that way.
And here's Jordan. The steal by Harper. Brown tried to take it away. Pippen, he is crunched and taken down by P.J. Brown.
And all 3 officials immediately looking at one another to see if that's a possible flagrant foul, as Scottie Pippen, seeing the opening, taking it to the basket. And we, in fact, do have a flagrant foul, as P.J. Brown, and you can see that really was not going for the ball, went for the outstretched right arm of Scottie Pippen. And in an attempt to commit a hard foul, which is what you want to do any time of the year, in particular in the playoffs, no layups, but you also have to make a good, honest play on the basketball. P.J. Brown didn't do it on that particular play.
P.J. Brown, a focal point of the series against the Knicks for the flip of Charlie Ward, is called for that flagrant on Scottie Pippen. Pat Riley, in his days as head coach of the Knicks, always wanted his players to play Pippen very, very tough. There'd be a lot of hard hits laid on Scottie Pippen. 14-point Chicago lead. Minute and a half gone by in the 3rd quarter. Pippen putting moves on Leonard. Shot clock down to 3. Here's Williams. Brian Williams, who has been an excellent pickup for the Chicago Bulls, hitting on a 2nd field goal. And the Bulls now lead 52-36. Mashburn for 3. Brown with the 10. Brown fending off against 3 Bulls onto the boards. Michael Jordan unhappy with the way this sequence is developing. Here's Brian Williams again. And it leads to a Miami timeout. A 20-second timeout called by Pat Riley.
Michael Jordan dribbling around, waiting for something to develop. The triangle offense throughout this series has been very shaky, and you have to give a lot of credit to the Miami defense. They're bumping movement from the players, not letting them move, and Dennis Rodman getting all tangled up with P.J. Brown, trying to get play there by Brian Williams, as all attention was on Dennis Rodman trying to establish some offensive rebounding position. But that's one of the reasons, it's hard to run any kind of set offense in the playoffs, because teams are set in, they're geared for whatever it is you're trying to do, in particular the triangle offense. That's why when the Bulls spread the floor, they get better scoring opportunities.
Biggest lead of the day for Chicago, a margin of 18. Once again, Alonzo Mourning quiet, Tim Hardaway quiet. Mourning has taken only 2 shots, 1 of 2 from the field. And a reach-in foul is called. Foul on Pippen, that is his 2nd. Well, this not a stat that bodes well for the Heat. Here in the second half, they have not done well. Second halves of games 1 and 2. That doesn't necessarily mean it's going to follow here, but certainly the pattern appears to be underway. They have been outscored 7-2 in this third quarter.
Well, historically, the Chicago Bulls go into halftime no matter how the first half went and make whatever specific adjustments they want with their defense, and that does usually not bode well for whoever the opponent is.
Again, the double on Mourning. They played him well. Here's Leonard for 3. Rashawn Leonard came into today with only 5 points the last 7 quarters. Now has 11 for the game. 54-39 Chicago. 3 minutes gone by in the third. And the call away from the ball. It's P.J. Brown called for the foul.
And Dennis Rodman creates all this physical banging by trying to establish position. And Dennis Rodman's supposed to be there on the post, but he's certainly not a dangerous post player. But he's just smarter, more experienced than P.J. Brown as far as physical play is concerned.
Stay right here, says Jack Neese.
Each foul, number 24, Jamal Mashburn.
Foul on Mashburn, his second. And very quickly, Miami has 4 team fouls.
And Miami right now is mistaking just grabbing, holding, and pushing for aggressive defense. It's a big difference.
Jordan not able to handle the pass, and then it's deflected. Last touch by Jordan. Miami Heat in a funk. They cannot get out of it. It's lasted this entire series. 9 of 26 from the field in the first half. And not able to pick it up here in the second. A bad decision. Mourning picked off. Another Miami turnover. Mourning has turned it over now 6 times. And Jordan being guarded now by Mashburn. 16 turnovers in all committed by the Heat. Hopper to the scoop and tipped home. So Michael Jordan with the tip. He has 24 points. 56-39 Chicago.
And you just look at the Miami offense. They pass and stand. There's no cutting. There's no movement. And consequently, they wind up with shots like that. Standstill jumpers from the perimeter.
And the Bulls have done a superb job defending on Mourning with the double team. Jordan, Brown with the rebound. Hardaway went behind the back and lost it. 17 turnovers for Miami. Tim Hardaway just 2 of 7 from the field. Alonzo Mourning 1 of 2 from the field. The Bulls looking to go up 3-0 in this best of 7. Rodman is fouled. And Mourning went at Rodman. Rodman was hunched over trying to get to the basketball and then took a shot. Let's see how the officials handle this.
Isn't it amazing? You can never just have a normal foul with Dennis Rodman. It's almost an event. Dennis Rodman going in for the layup naturally will be hacked and hacked hard to prevent the lay-in. But because Alonzo Mourning was up in the air to try to block that shot, he lands on the back of Rodman. But Rodman, instead of just falling away to get out of harm's way, he grabs the leg of Alonzo Mourning to exacerbate the problem.
Dennis Rodman, a 57% free throw shooter. And 3 of 4 at the line this afternoon. Bulls lead 57-39 with 5 minutes gone by in the third. Brown trying to get it down low. Good play by Williams to break it up. It will be Miami ball with 12 on the shot clock. But first, a timeout called by the Heat. It's the Bulls 57 and the Heat 39. In South Florida, we welcome you back to the Miami Arena with 5 minutes gone by in the third quarter.
Big problem for the Miami offense. Everybody's standing around as Mourning gets the ball inside, and that makes it so easy to defend. First of all, they should get P.J. Brown cutting to the basket to make the defense react. But everybody just standing still, not putting any pressure at all on the Chicago defense, and then Jamal Mashburn forced to take a poor percentage shot.
So the Bulls have outscored the Heat 10-5 here in the third quarter. Rashawn Leonard with all 5 Miami points. Leonard inbounds to Marley. We're down to 10 on the shot clock. The Bulls lead by 18 points. Shot clock at 5. Mourning forced it up with the 24-second clock running down.
Well, the Chicago Bulls do not like to double team in the post, but they are keeping Alonzo Mourning off balance just enough. When the ball goes inside to him, they're faking at him, stunning at him, sinking in from time to time, and he's unable to read it.
Jordan coming up short on that three-point attempt. And remember, coming into this series, Alonzo Mourning talking about hoping to make amends for the block. Hardaway shot rebuffed. And it will be Miami ball with 17 on the clock. Mourning was trying to turn it from last year's poor playoff series against the Bulls. That opening round sweep by Chicago. And Mourning in 3 games scored only 18 points. Oh, Harper with a good play to take it away. And here's Pippen racing down, challenging Mourning. Back comes Leonard for Miami.
Well, Scottie Pippen is worried about physical play. He certainly isn't in this game. Every chance he has gotten, he has taken the ball hard to the basket, looking for contact.
Mourning. Alonzo not taking good shots. Now, when he senses the opening, so anxious to get it up.
And the look on Pat Riley's face right now is just one of total bewilderment. And of course, this team is built on defense, and they depend so much on Tim Hardaway and Mourning to create. It's just not happening.
Pippen thought he was fouled. Both clubs struggling right here. Marley, and Marley leading the break. 57-41 Chicago.
Oh, and have those ever been few and far between, and it's exactly what Miami needs. It's an easy basket.
And an easy basket right there. Leonard gambled on a steal, and it cost.
Well, you're in trouble when you have Michael in the post like that and you are standing behind. The only thing you can wrap him up, foul him, make him earn it from the foul line in that situation.
Last touch by Mourning. Beautiful play by Pippen.
And Pat Riley just does not have any answers right now as to what they can do to score some points. The Miami Heat do not have any motion, any passing game in their offense to create some movement to make it tougher on the defense. Everybody just standing stationary, but a little late in the day to change things.
Michael Jordan with 28 points. And the Bulls very much back into the higher quality of play. We talked earlier about the fact they won the first 2 games, but not the degree of quality that people expected from Jordan and the entire team. 3-second violation is called.
Well, we said before the game that you just had the sense that Michael Jordan was due for one of those special type games. Now, he had 37 points in game 1. And as we mentioned, a great fourth quarter in game 2. But he didn't look like the Michael Jordan that we're seeing today.
Phil Jackson telling us earlier that his team has played better on the road. Another sweeping move by Jordan. 30 for Michael. 10 of the 30 here in the third. And the Bulls now lead 63-41 as we come up on 4 minutes to go, third quarter. Marley's pass off the mark. Back comes Pippen. Another Miami turnover behind the back. Oh, a hard foul by P.J. Brown. The no layup rule continuing, but it has not mattered.
Well, normally the Miami Heat defense closes down that lane very quickly. Dan Marley too slow. Alonzo Mourning not quick enough to get over and try and block that shot, as the Miami Heat defender standing straight up, and you can just see it in their body language, see it in their faces. They just do not believe that they can handle the Chicago Bulls, and Pat Riley is seeing the same thing.
He is seeing a 3-0 deficit with a game 4 possibility of a sweep here on Monday. Matt, you look back to the history of NBA playoff competition. 12 teams have been able to come back from an 0-2 deficit in the playoffs. All 12 won Game 3. No team has ever come back from 0-3. The Bulls lead 65-41 with 3:40 remaining in the third. Another steal by Harper. Hardaway back. It counts, and the foul. And this has become embarrassing for the Heat here in the third quarter.
Well, you know, Marv, I don't think the Miami Heat or their fans ever expected the Heat to beat the Chicago Bulls in this series, but after the so-called learning experience last year as Ron Harper with the steal, the layup, and the foul, but because of that so-called learning experience, I think everybody thought that they were more prepared to battle and push the Chicago Bulls. Now, in Game 1, that game was certainly within reach. Played well for 45 minutes, but by not winning that game, by Chicago taking the heart out of them, this seemed to happen throughout this series.
And Miami at one point led by as many as 16 in that opening game. The Bulls won it 84-77, a 68-41 lead right here.
Friday, BC.
And in 3 weeks, this man, Greg Neumann, will be competing in the U.S. Open. Greg has never won that event, but has won twice at Congressional, so who knows?
You know, watching Michael Jordan over the years, always looking for a motivational tool. And from time to time, when there's been an athlete from another sport in the crowd, they'll kind of want to almost like show and tell, put on a demonstration. Perhaps Greg Norman is the man here today, helping to spur on Michael. Not that he needs much more. Michael Jordan having a terrific all-around ball game. 30 points for Jordan. Foul is called. It's on Jordan. Let's check in with him on.
All right, Marv, after Game 2 at a press conference, Michael Jordan was asked about his team struggling and how they didn't have any blowouts. And he said he would prefer a blowout because that way him and Scottie could sit on the bench in the fourth quarter and ice their knees. Well, during that last time out, Michael Jordan led the cheer in telling the guys, ice those knees in the fourth quarter. Ice those knees. Marv?
All right, I'll tell you the way things have been going for Miami from the offensive point of view. The Bulls with 68 points. That might be enough.
It's just been unbelievable for Miami in trying to score. Tim Hardaway getting a rest right now. John Crotty. We'll see if he can't rev up some offense for the Heat.
And a rare miscue for Jordan. Thought that Williams was cutting baseline. 30 points for Jordan, 17 for Pippen. A 68-43 Chicago lead with just under 3 minutes left in the third. Here's Leonard from way downtown. Rashawn Leonard. That is his third three-pointer. He has 14 points in all. Jordan coming up short on that three-point attempt. Crotty lost it. Rodman on the recovery, and Harper's hurt. Harper went down in the collision.
And down hard, grabbing that right hip area as trainer Chip Schaefer coming out to tend to Ron Harper.
Ron Harper, it has been injury hit in recent seasons. He's been an important player in the Bulls scheme, making the transition from a start or a role player, and it's actually saved his career.
So we get a look at that reverse angle as Ike Austin, going for that loose ball, catches the right hip area of Ron Harper.
Ron also a guy who's made it back from off-season knee surgery. Timeout is called. We'll be right back. Ron Harper giving the impression that he's all right. That right hip being massaged went down just a moment ago.
Now, Ron Harper has been so important to this Bulls defense. Had a very tough year coming off surgery in the offseason. Was unable to give the defensive lift that he gave last year, in particular in the playoffs.
All right, for more of that, let's check in with Ahmad.
All right, thanks, Marv. I just talked with a trainer, Chip Schaefer. He said that he suffered a knee to the hip, and they're calling it a bruise right now, and they'll determine later whether or not he'll be able to come back in the game. Marv?
All right, about a 68-46 Chicago lead as we approach 2 minutes left in the third quarter. Now Pippen posting up on Marley. Shot clock at 2. Pippen, yes. What a beautiful post-up move by Scottie Pippen.
And you don't see Scottie Pippen posting up as much as he has done in this game. I can't remember any game where he has gone inside that much, usually settling for the jump shot.
19 points for Pippen. Offensive foul. It is on Marley. It has been a long afternoon for that man. Oh, bad pass on the inbounds. And Randy Brown tried to save it, but he stepped down. Well, Matt, I think you have been in the situation that Pat Riley is in at this moment. Maybe a couple of times. Just a couple.
Times.
What can you do in this type of scenario?
Well, you have to first of all start defensively. So whether it's more pressure on the ball, after a made basket, after a free throw, get up and press, create some havoc, get out and get some running opportunities, get the crowd involved, and get your confidence back. Right now, Miami is totally lacking in belief that they can do anything against this Chicago Bull team.
Pippen able to race it down after the kick or the deflection. A minute 20 remaining, third quarter. Rodman changed his mind. Brown not able to hit. Here's basket won't count. It was waved off, but a foul call. It's on Leonard. That is his fourth.
Well, we talked earlier in the day about the hustle stats. Even when the Chicago Bulls were not shooting the ball very well in the mid 30%, they still come up huge in these departments, which will enable you to win a lot of basketball games. And that's why they are demolishing Miami in that particular area.
Michael Jordan spent much time at the line in game 2. In fact, he owned the fourth quarter, hit 10 of 10 at the line, overall 15 of 16 this past Thursday night. Is Willie Anderson for Deshaun Leonard. Willie Anderson, who saw some important minutes in the series against the New York Knicks. Well, the Bulls have outscored the Heat in the third quarter, 25-12. How about Miami? 15 points in the first, 19 in the second, only 12 here in the third as we come up on 1 minute remaining. Austin, who has struggled here today, lost the dribble, able to recover and hit.
But this is what happened now. Each player individually tries to do it himself. Even though Ike Austin made that shot, he was in effect triple teamed.
Brown played by Cronny. Williams. Won't count. Traveling violation.
Brian Williams doesn't agree as he's starting to put the ball on the floor more and more. Phil Jackson can't believe it either, as Brian Williams lately has had some problems time to time with the offense, getting lost and getting in the wrong position. So his mindset is, I'm just going to take the ball to the basket and stay out of trouble.
Brian Williams signed as a free agent following the injury suffered by Bill Wennington out for the playoffs. And a reach-in foul. It is on Brown of Chicago. A reminder, NBC tonight will start with an all-new Dark Skies, followed by the movie blockbuster Star Trek, The Undiscovered Country, starring William Shatner, Leonard Nimoy. That's all right here tonight on NBC. Isaac Austin to the free throw line. He's 2 of 2 at the line. Isaac Austin, very effective during the regular season, won the NBA's Most Improved Player Award. He lost 70 pounds over the summer. He had ballooned to as much as 340 pounds and then hired a personal trainer and came back with a very strong performance in the regular season, in particular when Alonzo Mourning was sidelined by injury.
Miami went 9-4 during that stretch, and that's when everybody thought the Knicks would take over first place in the Atlantic Division. Not the case.
Final seconds of the third. Morning kept it away from Rodman, but it's deflected out. Last touch by Rodman. 1 4/10 seconds to go in this third quarter. Willie Anderson tossing it in. Couldn't find anyone. Would not have counted. So Chicago outscored Miami 25-15 in this third quarter. Jordan with 12 of those 25. Jordan with 32 points in all. Chicago in the midst of a blowout. We'll be back after these messages and a word from your local station. You're watching the NBA on NBC.
Without the express written consent of the NBA.
Back in Miami, Marv Albert, Matt Gukas, and Ahmad Rashad on to the fourth quarter. Look at that quarter-by-quarter rundown for Miami. 15, 19, and 15 for only 49 points. The Miami Heat with another 4 shooting performance, 36%. They've committed 25 turnovers over the first 3 quarters. That is an enormous number. The NBA playoff record for a game is 36. And Chicago has already come up with 15 steals, 9 of the 15 in the third quarter. Brian Williams called for that foul as this fourth quarter gets underway. So the Bulls, who during the season averaged close to 9 per game, averaged 8 per game. In the playoffs, that figure will look better following today's performance. The NBA playoff record, Matt, most steals in a single game, 22. Golden State did it twice in 75 and 76, so the Bulls have 15.
Now, last Sunday in Game 7, we saw the New York Knicks throwing the ball all over the lot, but it was because of their careless turnovers. This is more a case of turnovers forced by Chicago's defense. So the defense is a big reason why Miami is struggling so much offensively, but also Miami has to take the heat, no pun intended, in not moving more and not making a better effort to get better scoring opportunities.
Brian Williams at the high post. Came on for Luke Longley after Longley picked up a 4th foul. Pippen got the stick. And a foul. Morning was looking for an offensive foul, but it will not go that way. It's number 4 on Alonzo Mourning.
I can never remember Scottie Pippen being this aggressive with either post plays or taking the ball to the basket. When he first came into the league, this is pretty much all he did. He was considered a slasher, did not have a good perimeter shot. Well, he improved that outside shot as the years went by, but almost became too happy to take the perimeter shots and has gotten away from this slashing game, which is very effective.
He has had an outstanding all-around ball game. The Bulls 74, the Heat 51. Chicago looking to make it a 3-0 lead in this best-of-7 Eastern Conference final series. It went through the legs of Marley. Another turnover for Miami.
Well, after saying that the Heat have not been committing careless turnovers, but that's Alonzo Mourning. He's put in a position right now way out on the floor trying to make too many passes. He's incapable.
And the Bulls also get credit for another steal. It's number 16. Tony Kukoc back on the floor. Michael Jordan getting a rest here at the start of the fourth. Rodman for 3. And an air ball.
Wide left, as that thing never looked good leaving his hand. From time to time, Dennis has a pretty good looking release on his jump shot, even from downtown, but that one never had a prayer.
Actually, go back to his days with the Detroit Pistons. At times would show a very nice touch from outside. It was 5 of 19 from 3-point range this regular season. Austin, foul. Pippen came over to help. And Scottie Pippen. Check that. It's on Kukoc's first.
Now, Dennis Rodman is just normally, oh my goodness, way off. He just does not like offense. He was out today before the game, shooting some shots in an unusual garb, no sneakers and stocking feet. But he doesn't care to score, yet he is capable of finishing plays off on the fast break with either hand and very effectively. And he's capable of making little turnaround jump shots in the lane, and every once in a while that 3-point shot. But He'd rather have a stat line of like 0 for 0 from the field, 0 for 0 from the line, 25 rebounds.
Think how effective he could be, though, if he worked on that outside shot, because, as we mentioned, he does have the touch from the perimeter. Kukoc. And Mourning with the rebound, hit from behind. Pippen was gunning for the steal. So that is now number 3 on Pippen. And a timeout taken. 9:58 left in the fourth. It's been all Chicago.
Miller Genuine Draft presents a classic moment of the NBA at 50.
Today we look back at Michael Jordan versus the Heat, Game 3 of the 1992 playoffs, the Heat's first ever home playoff game. But Michael played the spoiler. He hit for 56 points in the game. That's the second highest scoring playoff game in the career of Michael Jordan. Bulls won it, 119-114, took the series 3-0 in recognition of this classic moment. The Miller Brewing Company will donate $1,000 to the Thurgood Marshall Scholarship Fund. A look at the breakdown on Michael Jordan. 33 minutes, 32 points, 13 of 23. And Matt, he has, as we saw that shot chart, shown the entire repertoire this afternoon.
Well, you know, the Chicago Bulls have won a number of games with Jordan and Pippen doing most of the scoring. Right now, they have equaled Miami's output at 53 points as a tandem. But really, Phil Jackson and his staff would like to see a lot more balance involved. 13 for 23 today, as Michael is having one of those special performances.
Willie Anderson was called on that reach-in foul, so Jordan is back on the floor. In Kerr at the guards, Kukoc, Rodman, and Williams up front. 9.5 to go in the fourth quarter. Here's Jordan putting the move on Anderson, who lost him off the screen. 34 for Jordan. John Crotty trying to lose Kerr on a pick. Anderson. Willie Anderson, who's come off the bench. 9-year man out of Georgia, first-round pick of the San Antonio Spurs in 1988, signing on as a free agent with Miami in late January last year. Spent time with the Raptors and the Knicks. Here's Kerr. Hasn't been able to find the touch. Good play by Brian Williams, saving it. Getting it back to Steve Kerr.
And you get the sense that Michael would like to get Steve Kerr some shots, get Tony Kukoc a little bit on track, get Brian Williams in better shape, because Chicago knows they're going to need those players as we move deeper into this playoffs.
Mourning, another turnover. Traveling violation. Turnover number 8 for Alonzo Mourning, who has had a nightmare.
And all the while Michael is trying to get other players involved, no double team, no single team even, as Michael just gets away from 2 defenders, goes to an open shot with the shot clock winding down.
And a foul is called. Foul on Crotty. Tim Hardaway, who has had a very quiet game, has not been seen on the floor for some time. Hardaway only 2 of 7.
Talking to Tim Hardaway yesterday, he looked visibly tired, and I asked him if he was, and he said he is, but sometimes I play my best basketball. There's Tony Kukoc getting one from Michael Jordan.
So Kukoc with 5, Pat Riley taking time, and the Bulls lead at 78-55 with 8:06 to go. Outdoors, not the case indoors for the Miami Heat. It has been extensive garbage time here in the fourth quarter. Matt, you do the math.
I have to get my calculator out there. It's pretty close. They've done it again. They have tied the Miami Heat with their scoring, and they are capable of doing that from time to time.
So Michael Jordan with 34 points. Scottie Pippen with 21. And here's Hardaway just returned and way off on that attempt. Jordan pumps it down to Rodman, and he put the brakes on.
I was just watching Tim Hardaway run back on defense, a little grimace looking down at his knee. He did tell me yesterday he is tired, he is hurting, but certainly capable of playing, but not having a good game at all today.
Here's Kerr for three. And Rodman trying to keep it alive. Anderson recovered. Marley with Jordan back has a 3-on-1, and Anderson able to finish. Bulls 78 and the Heat 57. Kukoc taking it to the basket and drew the foul. So Tony Kukoc to the line. Foul on Mourning. That's number 5. Tomorrow, the NBA playoffs will continue as NBC presents the Western Conference Finals. Coverage beginning with NBA Showtime, 3 o'clock Eastern Time. And then Charles Barkley and the Houston Rockets will look to even up the series. They go up against Karl Malone and the Utah Jazz. That series standing 2-1 in favor of Utah. And then looking ahead to Monday, we'll have Game 4 between the Bulls and the Heat. It's all this weekend here on NBC. From here on in, it's all NBC coverage. Our good friends from TNT passing the baton after their extensive coverage during the course of the regular season and then the playoffs. From now on, everything will be seen on NBC Sports. Tony Kukoc hurt his shoulder, and Chicago trainer Chip Schaefer taking a look. Kerr with the steal. Another Bulls steal. Number 17 for Chicago. As we mentioned earlier, the record in NBA playoff competition, 22. That is held by Golden State. They did it on 2 occasions. Jordan putting the move on Haskins.
Watch out. Come on.
The Bulls 80 and the Heat 57. With 6.5 remaining in the 4th quarter. Anderson. Miami now. It's unbelievable. 16 of 43 from the field. An embarrassing 37%. Haskins called on the foul. Let's check in with Ahmad.
All right, Marv, Tony Kukoc was scratched on the right arm, and he was sent to the sidelines for infectious control. You never heard that one before, have you? That's what that's called. You get to come over, they put the Band-Aid on, infectious control. Now he's on his way back into the game, saying that the infection is controlled now. Marv?
Very, very well captured by Ahmad. Dick Bavetta also over to confirm that it was indeed infectious control.
If Pat Riley is looking for a rally cry for Game 4 come Monday, he may have found one a couple of minutes ago. A loose ball, and Steve Kerr dove hard, came up with it as Tim Hardaway reached over. Now, Tim Hardaway is bothered by some knee problems, but there's still no excuse for Steve Kerr out hustling Tim Hardaway for a loose ball in that fashion, and that's what got John Cotty up off the bench and replacing Tim Hardaway.
And here's P.J. Brown. And the ball deflected out. Last touch by Kerr. I think we're hearing some extra whistles. Someone in the crowd trying to help the officiating crew. Crotty eluding Kerr. Passed on the 3 and hit the 2. John Crotty with his first field goal. Here's some pressure by Miami, and Rodman turned it over. Crotty had it knocked away and recovered by Anderson. It has been ugly here in the 4th quarter.
Well, and this Bulls team right now is a little bit vulnerable to pressure because look out on that floor. No Michael Jordan, no Scottie Pippen. Things break down very, very quickly, and without Tony Kukoc being a very effective, he's their best ball handler right now.
Number 13, Luke Longley is 5th.
And this is what Ahmad talked about earlier. Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen said they wanted to be sitting it out in the 4th quarter, icing their knees and watching a blowout. Well, the blowout has been throughout the 2nd half, actually showing signs in the 2nd quarter. And Michael Jordan sitting down. He's played 36 minutes, 34 points. Scottie Pippen with 21 points. There's the stat line for Michael. So Chicago now leads 82-61. And again, the pressure. Able to pop it down. They have a 3-on-1 now. Well, Bushler. Judd Bushler finishing it for Chicago. And the Bulls have an 84-61 lead.
Well, you may be wondering why the Miami Heat don't run more.
Look out. Crotty did not like the hard foul by Rodman and threw the ball at Rodman. It is a flagrant being indicated by Dick Pavetta. Now Jack Neese with the call. Rodman was already hit with a technical.
Flagrant foul called on the Bulls, Dennis Rodman.
You know, Phil Jackson really has to be wondering right now. He has Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen on the bench. Dennis Rodman, always a time bomb emotionally, always capable of getting into these kinds of plays as John Crotty drives to the basket. And the hard foul, just a body block into John Crotty. We saw Dan Marley do this before, and Crotty just heaving the ball. Now, this is where an incident can happen like we had with New York a while back, but it was very interesting to see the rest of the Chicago bench glued to their chairs. They were going to let John Crotty and Rodman figure it out for themselves.
So the technical foul on Crotty for throwing the ball at Rodman. Kerr was able to convert the flagrant on Rodman. Will put Crotty at the line, and Rodman is headed to the bench. Yes, a wise move by Phil Jackson in getting him off the floor. Rodman tried to come over to make amends with Crotty, and Crotty said, "Get away from me." In other words, his feeling is, I don't want to get involved with something and then you say I'm sorry.
You know, hard fouls are part of basketball, part of playoff basketball. You don't want to give layups, but everybody in the NBA, officials included, realizes what is a hard foul and what is excessive.
It's oh, there's another hard hit. Brian Williams called for the foul on Alonzo Mourning. It's the extracurricular stuff, the late hits, that are causing all the problems. That's the case in the Knicks Miami series, and now here today. That's a flagrant foul called on Brian Williams. Rodman earlier was involved with Dan Marley double technical, so Dennis Rodman now has been hit with 14 technical fouls in 11 playoff games.
Well, I'd like to tell you there is an art to committing a hard foul. It's very difficult with, you have athletic players, very strong players exploding off the floor, going to the basket, and you're trying to prevent that player from getting their arms up in the air and making the layup. Well, you're also in some jeopardy as far as getting hurt, so you try to protect yourself. Nice dish by John Crotty, and Brian Williams was never getting high enough in the air to challenge that shot, but just trying to make sure that Alonzo Mourning did not get a three-point play opportunity.
And art in committing a hard foul. Matt, you sound like you speak from practical experience.
I remember one time many years ago trying to prevent Wilt Chamberlain from going up and dunking, and I didn't do too well. He took me with him.
Just under 5 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter. It has been garbage time. Only the final score in question. And again, a foul off the drive by Randy Brown. Anderson on the foul. A look at the remaining schedule of this series. Game number 4 here in Miami on NBC on Monday afternoon, beginning with NBA Showtime at 3 o'clock, and if necessary, the rest of the way, beginning Game 5 Wednesday night back in Chicago. Scottie Pippen through for the rest of the game, 21 points, 8 of 16 shooting. Michael Jordan put his stamp on this game, bouncing back from the 4 of 15 in Game 2. Jordan with 34. While Miami getting no offense. Only Bashan Leonard was able to hit the outside shot. Leonard with 14. He hit 3 from downtown. Look at this rundown. Mourning 1 of 4, 12 points. Hardaway 2 of 9, invisible. Mashburn 2 of 7. Also Mourning with 9 turnovers. The NBA playoff record most turnovers in a single game. Super John Williamson of the New Jersey Nets in April of '79 turned it over 11 times. Mourning with 9. There's a group pretty good group of players who have turned it over 10 times, including Magic Johnson and Larry Bird and Moses Malone, Penny Hardaway, Kevin Johnson, Quinn Buckner. Because they were such important players, they handle the ball that frequently. It's finished off by Bushler. And it's now 88-65 Chicago. Miami with only 17 field goals in the game. Playoff low 21. That was done several times. Mourning. Is that turnover number 10? Let's see. No, it was deflected out by Brown.
And as you mentioned, that group with the 10 turnovers, the Magic Johnson, even Moses Malone as a center, when the ball went into him, he certainly made a lot of things happen. Occasionally Moses would shuffle those feet from time to time. But when a player is making things happen, you can live with those games when he's going to have a burst of turnovers. But even though the pat on the back for Alonzo Mourning, Pat Riley has to really be thinking right now what he can do to rev up his team for Game 4. It's going to be very difficult.
Alonzo Mourning replaced by Mark Strickland, a second-year player out of Temple. We are down to 3.5 remaining. Nice backdoor pass, but Randy Brown rejected by Willie Anderson. Crowd beginning to file out. They've hung in for a long time.
Randy Brown with his head up, spotting Judd Bushler running the lane very well. Is Judd Bushler getting rewarded for his good efforts for Chicago? They like to put him in the game throughout when it's important because he keeps the offense moving.
Keith Askins delivers to John Crotty, able to push it down to Strickland. So Mark Strickland, who last season played in the CBA and the USBL, converting on his first field goal. Right at the start of the telecast, we were saying the Bulls concentrated so much on Tim Hardaway and putting the clamps on him. Another Miami turnover. And Miami would need a big game from Hardaway to get back into it. Bushler had stepped out of bounds. Well, Tim Hardaway not able to deliver. Once again, he was contained. 30 turnovers for Miami. Timeout called. Welcome back to Miami with just under 3 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter, and the Bulls with an 88-67 lead on their way to a 3-0 lead in this best of 7. It has been a horror show for Miami. Another turnover. It's number 31 by the Heat. Brown. Randy Brown with the missed shot, and P.J. Brown with the rebound. The NBA playoff record for a single game, 36 turnovers, and Miami has 31. Miami with only 18 field goals in the game. And a foul call. The ball knocked loose from P.J. Brown. Foul on Bushler.
Well, anytime a Heat player puts the ball on the floor in the lane, they are in jeopardy of turning the thing over right now, because the Bulls defense still aggressive, still sinking in there, trying to get deflections and get some steals. Marty, you were talking a little bit earlier about the Bulls and their effort to shut down Tim Hardaway. There's no question he's the lightning rod of this Miami Heat team. And remember, midway through that Atlanta series, and Ron Harper and the Bulls shut down the pick and roll plays with Mookie Blaylock, and that was basically the end of that series. Same thing in this series. They took the pick and roll away from Tim Hardaway and took the heart out of the Heat.
Anderson. There are a number of negative marks on the line, and this is coming off the lowest scoring playoff game since the inception of the 24-second clock back in 55, the 75-68 final in game number 2. Kukoc finding Randy Brown, and the Bulls now lead 90-68. 31 turnovers for Miami, 5 away from a playoff record. 19 steals by Chicago, 9 of the 19 in the third quarter. That's turnover number 32. The NBA record for a playoff contest, 22. steals. Chicago with 19. Miami with only 18 field goals. It counts. And the foul. The playoff record low is 21. So we may see a new low. Here's a breakdown of the turnovers. Alonzo Mourning only 2 away from the all-time record of 11. Super John Williamson of the New Jersey Nets back in '79 committed 11 in one game. A minute 18 to go in what has been a very long day for the Miami Heat. The Bulls won 4 games this season by more than 30 points. They have not been blowing out teams the way they did last year when they won 72. Still not a bad season with 69 wins, although they did not finish strong. Strickland with his second field goal.
And a big reason for that was all the injuries that they had all throughout the regular season. Early in the year when Luke Longley got injured in a body surfing accident in the Pacific Ocean. Tony Kukoc out for long stretches of time, and also Dennis Rodman out.
Another pretty pass. Kukoc delivering for Randy Brown. 94-70 Chicago. Haskins. Well, that's their 20th field goal. The playoff record low is 21.
This spread offense is nothing new to the Chicago Bulls, but they have not used it very much this year. But by spreading the floor, really makes it tough for the defense to react, and it's opening up things for Tony Kukoc for that attempted drive and for some good passes. So I'm sure the Utah Jazz and the Houston Rockets watching this very closely. They're going to have to deal with it in about 10 days.
Miami 20 of 53 from the field, 37% shooting. We have 28 and 9/10 seconds to go, and the only question remaining, will Miami hit 21 field goals, or perhaps 22, so they won't be by themselves in the record books. They have 20 field goals for the game right now, which is a playoff record low. 96-72 Bulls. Strickland. And here comes Kukoc. We're down to 10 seconds. Randy Brown. 9 seconds to go. The Bulls with a 98-72 advantage. Final seconds. Strickland. That's their 21st field goal. So they will tie a record low. Fewest field goals in a playoff game. The Bulls make it 3-0 in this best of 7. So Miami, alongside 3 other teams who were held to just 21 field goals in a single playoff game. The Bulls won it 98-74. Here's Ahmad with Michael Jordan.
All right, thank you, Marv. Michael, what a difference a couple of days make. Now, in game 2, struggle from the field. Today, you showed us almost your entire repertoire of shots.
That's a big word.
It is a big word.
No, I shot the ball well. I started off with the air ball, which wasn't pretty, but I found my rhythm early in the first half, and I think everyone fed off of that. Scotty got his rhythm, and although we didn't really get anybody else involved offensively the first half, our defense stayed real strong. We took their premier scorers out of what they wanted to do, and we controlled everything today. And that's uncanny of one of Riley's teams. But I mean, we were able to hang our defense out there and certainly stop them from doing what they had to do.
Do I detect some killer instinct?
Yeah, I think that this is the first sign of it, and it's a good time for it right now. And on the road, in their building, certainly we can send a message.
All right, congratulations on a good game. I'm going to practice the repertoire as I throw it back over to Marv.
All right, Ahmad, remember, no team has ever come back from an 0-3 deficit. And that is what Miami is facing now. We'll be back in a moment.